Now, for me, the iPhone was not the big announcement. And honestly, that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting from a lot of people. For me, the big one was the iPad mini. It's got a new squared off design like the iPad Air. The volume buttons are located at the top, and it gets Apple Pencil support. It gets a power button with a Touch ID sensor. Nice. Freaking nice. I believe that's the first time we've seen this from Apple. It gets a slightly detuned A15 chip, and the screen is an 8.3-inch liquid Retina display. It gets a USB-C port. Man, the number of people that I see on the Apple side of things that are pushing back against the desire for USB-C support, it bewilders me. It kind of bewilders me. Like, Apple fans embraced the Lightning change, if I recall correctly. I think there was a little bit of pushback, but I think for the most part, they recognize this is an objectively better connector, and Lightning really is a lot better than the old 40-pin Apple connector and micro USB. But what's this hesitation for USB-C? I hear a lot of, I already have all these Lightning accessories. Okay, that's fair enough, but at some point, it's going to have to change, and USB-C is the obvious successor. If anything, I'd be an Apple fan going, why do I have to carry around two stupid different kinds of cables now for my MacBook and for my iPad and for my freaking iPhone that's still using Lightning for some reason?
I don't know. I could maybe understand some amount of frustration because in as far as the port and the jack goes, I have said this for a long time. USB-C feels like a downgrade from Lightning.
That's fair. That's fair. USB,
obviously,
Lightning?
no beyond that, but just the usability of the port and the jack, Lightning feels significantly better.
That's fair.
I can understand buying all these like premium Lightning compatible devices and then needing to buy new stuff for USB-C when the experience, maybe not the performance in certain ways, but the experience is like worse. It's just like, ugh.
But
okay.
The experience of USB-C is at least consistent. I carry one charger in my backpack. And whether I've got my laptop, my Switch,
nice.
my phone, a tablet, doesn't matter. I can use that exact same charger. That is a great experience. And I love it. I couldn't believe when Nintendo went standard USB-C, because I was like,
that's fantastic.
Wow, I can carry
very normal for them too.
One charger and one type of cable now. This is fantastic.
Now, I was super stoked and very surprised when they used some of the same power cables for 2 generations of consoles. I was like, oh wow, thanks Nintendo. You didn't do what you used to do. Now them using standardized connectors is fantastic.
The big thing for me though about the iPad mini is honestly the price. The fact that this thing comes in at $699, this is what I was alluding to in the title of the video here, guys, because this is pretty much a gigantic iPhone, except it starts at $500. Like, that's kind of freaking awesome. Liquid Retina display, super, super bright, A15 Bionic chip. I actually, I'm, for the first time in a long time, I'm tempted to grab an iPad. If I didn't have a folding phone, which gives me no reason to own an iPad mini, then this is the device that I would want to sit. And I have such a hard time giving Amazon the money that they ask for like Kindle devices. Like, what's the premium Kindle go for? Which, to be clear, is still an e-ink display and like
it's not really, I don't think it's that comparable.
Very, very basic CPU. Kindle Oasis, currently unavailable. Okay, what does are you serious? Here's the ad-supported version, currently unavailable. Oh wow, these things, you couldn't get a Kindle even if you wanted to. Guys, hit me in the chat and let me know what the normal price. Oasis is $250. I would without hesitation spend another $250 on an iPad that I can also sit and play casual games on or watch movies on or whatever the case may be. John Wick says there's still really good Kobos that are way better than Kindles. Okay, that's fair enough. Especially on an OLED, that's a bit of a disappointment. OLED display, I would have been happier about on the iPad, but especially on an OLED, I can't think of any reason to go e-ink anymore. Um, Alex the Noob says e-ink is way better to read and has weeks of battery. That's
It's a
fair
different
enough.
thing though. Like we're comparing, like especially with that comparison where they're talking about the quality of the screen, we're comparing an iPad mini to a very specified device used for reading books. Like these are not
Yes. What I'm saying
doing very
is
different things.
I have this money. And do I want to give Amazon, do I want to buy a $250 premium Kindle that can do nothing but read books? Or would I rather have this iPad for twice as much? In my opinion, the iPad is the no-brainer.
Yeah.
Your opinion may differ. But I personally do not find that I get a significant amount of eye fatigue from a sufficiently dark screen. And particularly, like I will always configure it for white text on a black background. I find that that's a lot more comfortable for me. But again, your mileage may vary.
That's one of the issues with the iPad. It's like the main thing that you brought up as a competition is an e-reader. And it's like, oof. Like, what else are you gonna get?
No, the main competition for the iPad is your old iPad.
Oh yeah. Okay.
They've been making iPads. When did the iPad launch? iPad launch.
I worked in Geek Squad when it launched. That was actually a crazy day.
Yeah, iPad launched over 10 years ago. And the reality of it is, anything once they went Retina display, so anything made within the last like 8 or 9 years, other than Apple not updating the operating system and obsoleting it that way, and then the apps you need to use not working on it anymore, other than that, what about your iPad doesn't still do exactly what you need it to do? Yeah, that's tough. Like when my grandparents
that was a
needed an
conversation
iPad.
we brought up earlier, right?
Like COVID video calls. I didn't even begin to consider a brand new one. I picked up a refurb one off Amazon that was a few generations old for a few $100s. It's like this is the most obvious move ever. Why on earth would I buy a brand new one? I can't think of any good reason.
Yeah.
Other than that the new iPad mini does look pretty cool. But that's like it's too enthusiast for the only reason I would buy an iPad is to buy it for someone who's not techie.
Someone said the battery, but like you can just plug it in if they're buying this specifically for video calls.
Yeah.
They're probably not going to be like astronomically long, and
No.
you could just get a cable and it's going to be okay.
And they're not on at all hours of the day.